Jinho is an 8-year-old boy who's always feeling down because his mom Sua passed away a year ago. He lives with his dad Ujin in a small village far from Seoul. They moved there because his dad doesn't have enough money to live in the city. Ujin works as a cleaner at a swimming training center, but back in school he was the best swimmer. He dreamed of making swimming his career, but after some unfortunate events, he ended up working as a regular staff member at the center. Every day, Ujin wakes up at 3 a.m. to go to work. After finishing half of his work, he rides his bike home, drops Jinho off at school, and then heads back to work. But when he gets home, he often doesn't find Jinho in his bed because Jinho wakes up and crawls into his mom's closet to sleep. When Ujin pulls him out of the closet, Jinho runs to the TV to watch the weather forecast. One day, the forecast says the rainy season is coming soon. Jinho gets really excited and asks his dad, "Dad, when will the rainy season start?" Jinho remembers that his mom gave him a storybook, and he deeply believed in the story. A year ago, he read his mom's story where it was written that before going to heaven, everyone stays in a kingdom of clouds for nearly a year. In that kingdom, a mother penguin was crying as she looked at her baby. When the rainy season began on Earth, the mother penguin boarded the rain train and arrived at a small station. The baby penguin, wearing a yellow raincoat, sat at the station, crying and waiting for her mother. The mother penguin stayed with her baby for a few days, teaching the baby how to fish, play, and pick itself up when it fell. A few days later, the mother penguin received news that she had to return before the rainy season ended. This made her really sad. But before leaving, the baby penguin smiled sweetly at her. The mother penguin waved goodbye with a smile. And from that day on, the mother penguin watched over her baby from the kingdom of clouds. But she no longer cried because the baby could now do everything on its own. After reading the story, Jinho looks out the window and sees his dad crying while staring at a picture of Sua. There are lots of flowers next to the picture. Jinho hears people talking about how Sua was healthy before she had him, but after giving birth, she got cancer. Hearing this, Jinho feels really sad and wonders if his mom would have lived longer if he hadn't been born. Fast forward to the present. Jinho tells his dad, "When the rainy season comes, mom will come back." Ujin feels really down hearing this because fairy tale stories never come true and Sua will never come back to them. But Jinho insists, "Mom promised she would come back. The storybook says so." Ujin doesn't pay much attention to it and says, "Let's get ready for school now. We'll deal with the rainy season when it comes." Jinho, like his dad, often does things the wrong way, like buttoning his shirt wrong or not putting his socks on properly. Ujin doesn't have the habit of doing housework properly, so he struggles with that. Before leaving, they both kiss Sua's picture. Every day, Jinho wears a raincoat to school because he believes that it will rain any moment, and as soon as it does, he'll go to the station to bring his mom back. Ujin has a problem that makes it hard for him to run fast or ride his bike quickly, but this detail will become clear at the end of the story. Ujin drops Jinho off at school and heads to work. Before leaving, Ujin tells Jinho to wait for him at his Uncle Hong's cafe after school. Every day, after school, Jinho waits for Ujin at Hong's cafe. Hong is Ujin's childhood friend. After dropping Jinho off at school, Ujin heads to work, but his colleague Hongjong points out, "You've buttoned your shirt wrong again today, just like every day." The truth is, Hongjong has a soft spot for Ujin. Meanwhile, the training center's boss, Mr. Lee, really likes Hongjong. When Lee sees Hongjong with Ujin, he gets extremely jealous. It's obvious that Lee tries to charm the girls at the training center, but everyone had a crush on Ujin. Because of this, Lee was always angry with Ujin. One day, Lee tried to push Ujin to knock him down, but Ujin unknowingly stepped aside, causing Lee to fall into the water himself. Everyone laughed at Lee for his foolishness. On the other hand, Hong always tried to pair up any female customer at his cafe with Ujin. Hong couldn't stand the loneliness that both Ujin and Jinho felt. Jinho, feeling sad, says to Hong, "Tomorrow there will be a race at school, where we have to run with someone from our family." But Jinho's dad can't run fast. So Hong says, "Don't worry, I'll run with you tomorrow." Jinho laughs and says, "But your belly is too big. You won't be able to run." Hong replies, "So what if my belly is big? I have long legs, and in this race, we'll win." Hearing this, Jinho gets really happy. When Ujin comes to pick Jinho up, Jinho runs to him and hugs him, saying, "Tomorrow there's a race at school. Uncle Hong will run with me." Ujin looks happily at Hong, who says, "A pretty girl came to my cafe today. If you want, you can go on a date with her." Ujin gets annoyed by Hong's comment and walks out. The next day, Hong arrives at Jinho's school, ready for the race. Meanwhile, Ujin's colleague Hongjong tells Ujin, "I'll handle your work today. You go to Jinho's school." At school, Jinho's friends tell him that only family members can participate in the race. Feeling sad, Jinho is about to return his uniform. but Ujin comes and takes it from him, saying, "Even though I can't run fast, I'll try my best to win for you." The race is divided into two parts. Half the students will run, and the other half will run with their family members. During the race, Jinho's stick falls from his hand. He quickly picks it up and runs to his dad. By then, the other dads are way ahead, and Jinho feels bad, thinking his dad is falling behind. Seeing this, Ujin notices Jinho's sad face, and to cheer him up, he pushes himself harder, running with all his strength. Ujin eventually passes everyone and reaches the front. Everyone cheers him on, but just as he's about to cross the finish line, he collapses, unconscious. Later that night, on the way home, Jinho says with a sad face, "Dad, please don't leave me like Mom did." Hearing this, Ujin feels heartbroken, but he promises Jinho, "I'll never leave you." Jinho, overjoyed, climbs onto his dad's shoulders. He says, "Let's go home and wash our blankets. Uncle Hong said if we wash them, it will rain, and if it rains, Mom will come back, right?" Ujin doesn't know how to respond to Jinho's innocent question, so he stays quiet as they head home. After Jinho falls asleep, Ujin watches a video with Jinho and Suwa. In the video, Jinho is searching for 4-leafed plants because his mom told him that if he finds 10 leaves, one wish will come true. Suwa asks Jinho, "What's your wish?" Jinho says, "I wish for you to get better soon." Watching this, Ujin breaks down in tears. The next morning, Jinho wakes up to see it's raining outside. He jumps up, excited, and quickly runs to wake up his dad, saying, "Hurry up, let's go to the station and bring Mom back. She must have arrived by now." Jinho quickly puts on his raincoat, runs outside, and heads toward the abandoned train station near their house. At the station, Jinho frantically looks around for his mom, but in reality, the dead can never come back. Unable to find his mom, Jinho starts acting like a madman, and his childish madness makes Ujin's pain even worse. To comfort him, Ujin says, "Maybe there was a problem on the road, and that's why your mom couldn't make it today." He tries to calm Jinho by saying, "Let's go home now, and tomorrow we will come back and look for your mom again." Jinho grabs his dad and says, "Mom promised me she would come back on the first day of the rain. I won't go home without her." Ujin tries his best to convince Jinho, and he picks him up to walk back home. Suddenly, Ujin notices a figure in the tunnel. Jinho says, "That must be Mom." Ujin, in a panic, tells Jinho, "Stay here, I'll go check first." But Jinho doesn't listen and runs toward the figure, calling out to it. When Ujin sees the figure, he is startled and falls back in fear because the girl looks exactly like Suwa. The girl looks at Jinho and asks, "Who are you?" Jinho answers, "I'm your son, Jinho. Don't you recognize me? You said you would come back when it rains." Meanwhile, Ujin is still in shock and can't believe his eyes. He slaps his own face to make sure he's not dreaming. Jinho pulls Suwa's hand and drags her home. When they reach the house, Jinho takes a picture frame from the wall and says, "Look, this is your picture. The baby next to it is me." Jinho even welcomes Suwa into the house with a drawing he made for her. Ujin, still in fear, wonders if this is truly Suwa's spirit. To figure out who she really is and how she ended up at the station, Ujin will have to wait until the end of the story. Ujin tells Suwa, "Everything in the house is exactly how you left it. Feel free to use whatever you want." He then quickly takes Jinho to the bathroom. Jinho says, "Maybe Mom hit her head while coming back from heaven, and that's why she doesn't remember anything." Ujin says, "We won't tell anyone about your mom, or she might get angry and go back to heaven. We'll pretend like we've been with her all this time." Jinho happily promises not to tell anyone about his mom. When they come out of the bathroom, Suwa looks at them in disbelief and asks, "Did I really live with you both?" Ujin replies, "We 3 live here. You're my wife and Jinho's mom." Suwa looks at them suspiciously and asks, "Then why did Jinho welcome me and say I came back from heaven? And why did you say everything was exactly as I left it? Did I leave the house in a mess?" Hearing this, Ujin and Jinho quickly start cleaning up, but Ujin is at a loss for words. Then Jinho comes up with an idea and says, "Actually, you were sick, and the place you were in was called heaven." Suwa asks, "So, why was I in a tunnel and not a hospital bed?" Ujin still can't answer, and Jinho, trying to make sense of things, says, "You got better yesterday, and we went to play hide-and-seek in the tunnel. While playing, you hit your head, and that's why you might not remember anything." That night, Ujin couldn't sleep at all, as his mind was filled with all sorts of questions. He kept thinking over and over, is that girl really Suwa? Or is she someone else? Or could she be Suwa's spirit? To confirm his doubts, Ujin went to Jinho's room and saw Jinho sleeping with Suwa, holding her. He slowly approached Suwa and touched her face. That's when Ujin realized that Suwa was not a spirit. She was truly a living person. The next morning, Jinho, as usual, tried to button his shirt wrong, but Suwa called him over and fixed it for him. Ujin watched this with a big smile. Suwa said, "Father and son are so alike." Ujin, trying to act cool, replied, "I can button my shirt properly." but suddenly noticed his pants zipper was open. Embarrassed, he quickly turned around and zipped it up. Jinho, following the example, kissed Suwa on the cheek and left for school. Ujin, too, tried to kiss Suwa on the cheek but stopped himself out of embarrassment and ended up kissing her picture like before. After dropping Jinho off at school, Ujin leaves, but Jinho doesn't go to school. Instead, he goes straight home. He spends the entire day playing with Suwa. While playing, Jinho accidentally gets his nose cut open by Suwa during a boxing match. At dinner time, Jinho says he wants to eat food cooked by his mom. Since Suwa doesn't remember anything, she forgets how to cook. But to make Jinho happy, Suwa tries to cook, but she accidentally pours pasta into hot oil, and it spills everywhere. Jinho, scared, hides under the table, and Ujin quickly turns his back to cover Suwa so the hot oil doesn't splash on her. But some pasta splashes on Ujin's back. When Suwa tells him to take off his shirt to treat the burn, Ujin mistakenly thinks she's asking him to take off his pants and quickly does so. When Suwa brings the ointment, Ujin realizes she only wanted him to take off his shirt, making him embarrassed. As Suwa carefully applies the ointment on Ujin's back, she asks, "How did we first meet?" Ujin replies, "We met in high school. You were the top student, and I was on the swimming team. I spent most of my time practicing swimming and the rest of the time in class. After swimming all day, I would fall asleep and didn't have much opportunity to talk to anyone. One day, I was assigned to teach you how to swim. You almost drowned, and I saved you. That's when I fell in love with you." Hong has been Ujin's best friend since school, and he suggests Ujin talk to Suwa by asking for a pen or pencil. Following Hong's advice, Ujin gathers some courage and asks Suwa for a pen, but she refuses. During dance practice, Hong tells Ujin, if Suwa likes you, she will definitely choose you as her partner. Later, it turns out that both Ujin and Suwa are left-handed, so the teacher pairs them up as dance partners. When Suwa gets close to Ujin, his hands and feet start trembling. Due to a mishap, Ujin accidentally hits Suwa in the face, causing her nose to bleed. From that moment on, neither of them spoke to each other again. On farewell day, Hong encourages Ujin to propose to Suwa. Just then, Suwa shows up, actually coming to collect signatures from everyone in her diary as a school memento. Feeling nervous, she asks Hong and Ujin to sign her diary. After signing, Ujin absent-mindedly gives Suwa his pen. After school, Hong and Ujin go to a nearby college, while Suwa heads to a university in Seoul. After hearing Ujin's story, Suwa tries to remember everything while looking at the pen, but she can't recall anything. Just then, Jinho wakes up and runs to his mom, falling asleep in her lap. Suwa asks Ujin, "Did we not date even when we were in college?" Ujin replies, "During our first summer vacation in college, I called you, but when I heard your voice, I couldn't bring myself to speak. Hong tried to lock me in the booth but failed. The years went by like this. Then, one day, I finally got enough courage and called you. When you said, 'Hello,' I panicked. I almost hung up, but Hong started a fight to stop me. Fearing what to say, I stupidly asked you for my pen back. And just hearing that, you agreed to come from Seoul to our town. After hanging up, Hong and I danced like crazy with joy. The next day, Ujin dyes his hair, wears a pink coat, and half pants, looking ridiculous. He comes to meet Suwa in this absurd outfit. Ujin is so nervous that no words come out of his mouth. Suwa, returning the pen to Ujin, turns to leave, but Ujin nervously asks, "Are you thirsty?" When she says yes, both of them go for dinner together. After dinner, they walk to the bus stop to go home. After a while, buses arrive and Suwa says sometimes, "There are too many people on this bus, I'll take the next one." Or, "This bus is not good, I'll wait for the next one." When Ujin's bus arrives, he says, "You go first, then I'll go." They deliberately miss several buses, just to spend more time together. Eventually, Suwa's bus arrives, and when she gets on, Ujin suddenly runs with all his might and leaps onto the bus, saying, "I want to write you letters regularly." Suwa notices Ujin is drenched in the rain, and the color from his hair is dripping down. She laughs, covering her mouth, and says, "You can write me letters whenever you want." Just then, the bus driver pulls Ujin off the bus. Back in the present, hearing Ujin's foolish story, both Suwa and Jinho burst out laughing. Ujin gets to work and hears on the news that it will rain for the next few days, and this year's rainy season will last longer. Hearing this, Ujin gets really happy. Hongjong notices and says, "What's up? You've been in such a good mood for the past few days. Are you dating someone?" Ujin responds, "I'm not interested in dating anyone." Hongjong feels bad hearing this. On the other hand, Lee, pleased, says to Hongjong, "If you want, you can date me." Hongjong, irritated, replies, "You're a real fool." This comment leaves Lee a bit embarrassed. Meanwhile, Suwa stands on the balcony, watching the rain. Her gaze falls on a small room in front of the house. Curious, She walks into the room and finds that it's full of memories from her past. There are pencil sketches of Ujin and Jinho drawn by Suwa herself. Looking at these pictures, Suwa realizes that even though their family was small, there was no shortage of love or happiness. On the other hand, Hong invites Ujin to a restaurant because he's found a girl he likes for Ujin. Hong wants Ujin to get married, and for Jinho to have a mother so that their lives would be complete. When Ujin sees the girl Hong has chosen for him, he realizes why Hong invited him and gets angry. Leaving the restaurant, Ujin doesn't want to get married because he knows he can't give anyone else the place Suwa holds in his heart. Later, Hong returns to the restaurant and realizes that the girl he picked for Ujin actually likes him instead. That night, Hong drinks heavily and, drunk, shows up at Ujin's house wearing a penguin costume. He barges into the house and shouts, "I've come from heaven! My name is Suwa!" Ujin quickly covers Hong's mouth, stopping him from making a scene. Hearing all the noise outside, Suwa goes to see, but Jinho runs to the door and stops her, saying, "If you see Uncle Hong, you'll be scared. He looks terrible. His head is huge." Actually, Jinho had promised his dad that he wouldn't tell anyone about his mom, so he didn't want Suwa to go outside. Despite Jinho's protests, Suwa steps outside and sees Hong. When Hong sees Suwa, he screams, "Ghost! Ghost!" and runs away in terror. Sitting on the balcony with Ujin, Suwa asks Ujin to tell her the story of their college life. Ujin tells her that after their first meeting, he regularly wrote letters to Suwa. Later, during winter break, they met again and went to watch a movie together. In the theater, something funny happens. Ujin, thinking he is holding Suwa's hand, ends up grabbing the foot of the person behind them. Suwa laughs loudly, and Ujin, embarrassed, runs out of the theater. Slowly, Suwa places her hand in Ujin's jacket pocket, and this is how they hold hands for the first time. Back in the present, Suwa, just like back then, places her hand in Ujin's jacket pocket, and Ujin, just like the first day, holds her hand. They look back to see Jinho is asleep, so they seize the opportunity and head out for a bike ride together. Ujin takes Suwa to the top of a mountain and hands her a pair of binoculars. As Suwa looks through the binoculars, she sees a large monitor showing a movie. While she's focused on the movie, Ujin slowly moves in front of her to kiss her. However, Suwa, not realizing it's Ujin, slaps him away. Suwa returns to watching the movie, and this time, Ujin moves in front of her again and kisses her. The next morning, while organizing Jinho's study table, Suwa finds the storybook called The Penguin from Heaven. She realizes that she had actually written the story for Jinho. Reading the story makes Suwa feel bad. She then happily wears their wedding ring. Suwa notices that Jinho has stuck some 4-leaf clovers on the window and asks, "What will happen with these?" Jinho responds, "If you stick these, it will rain because I really love rain." Actually, Suwa had told Jinho before her death that if 10 4-leaf clovers are found, a wish would come true. That's why Jinho collected the clovers. The next day, the three of them go on a picnic in the woods. They spend the whole day goofing around and having fun. On their way back, Ujin carries both of them on his back. By the time they get home, Ujin is so exhausted that he collapses unconscious. When he regains consciousness, Ujin explains that when he gets too tired or his heart rate increases, he faints. Suwa asks, "When did this start?" Ujin replies, "It started when I was selected for the national swimming competition." The story then shifts to the past. When Ujin was selected for the national swimming competition, Suwa congratulated him by giving him a 4-leaf clover. Ujin trained day and night for the competition, and it was during this time that he first fainted. The doctor's report confirmed that his condition would never improve. Ujin had to be careful to keep his heart rate under control. If it increased, he would faint for a while. Due to this illness, Ujin had to give up swimming. After quitting swimming, Suwa came to visit him. She asked, "Why did you quit swimming?" Ujin hid the truth about his condition, telling her that he no longer had feelings for her, and then he pushed her away. Several days pass, and Ujin misses Suwa a lot, so he goes to Seoul to see her. When Ujin approaches her to talk, a black car suddenly stops in front of Suwa. She gets into the car and leaves. Ujin realizes that Suwa has moved on, and his heart aches. He leaves the 4-leaf clover Suwa gave him behind and walks away. After that, Ujin gets a job at a swimming training center in his town and starts living in a small house in the nearby village. Months go by. One day, Suwa calls him and asks for his current address. Soon after, Suwa moves in with him for good. She runs up to Ujin, hugs him tightly, and says, "Don't worry, everything will be alright. I'm incomplete without you, I need you so much." Hearing these words, Ujin feels deeply moved and welcomes her with a smile. The story returns to the present. Hearing Ujin's love story, Sua's heart is deeply touched. Just like before, she hugs Ujin tightly and rests her head on his chest as they lie down together. Sua falls in love with Ujin all over again. Ujin says, "You left everything behind, your studies, your family, your career, and came to me. You told me you hated every second we were apart," he continues. "Then you asked me to propose to you. We got married and our little Jinho was born." Sua replies, "I want to stay like this with you forever." The next morning, Sua comes to clean the small room. While cleaning, she finds a diary on the bookshelf. It turns out this is a diary she wrote herself. But as she reads the diary, she finds she has no memory of what's written inside. After finishing the diary, she reads the penguin story again. For some reason, she is very stunned. The reason behind Sua's shock will be revealed at the end of the story. That night, Ujin is giving Jinho a bath when Jinho asks, "I had 8 4-leaf clovers, so why are there 9 now? Who put the extra one here?" Ujin replies, "I didn't plant it." Jinho says, "Then it must have been Mom who planted it." Sua gradually teaches Jinho how to make dinner, stir the clothes, clean the house, and even shampoo his own hair. Later that night, Sua watches a childhood video of Jinho. In the video, she says, "You two look like penguins." When the mother penguin goes out to collect food, the father penguin holds the baby close to his chest in the cold. Ujin says, "Hurry up, hold him. I need to go to the bathroom." Watching the video, Sua feels that her little family is like a small piece of paradise, but she can't remember these beautiful moments. Unable to remember the memories, Sua breaks down crying. Ujin, standing outside the door, hears her crying and is frozen in sorrow. Later that night, Ujin and Hong come to the tunnel and use dry branches to block its entrance. This is the same tunnel where they found Sua. Ujin now believes that when the rainy season ends, Sua will leave through this tunnel and never come back. One day, Jinho's friend's mom calls Ujin and says that Jinho has been washing their car with washing powder for no reason. She suggests that Jinho might be suffering from some mental issues and should be seen by a doctor. Ujin apologizes on Jinho's behalf and walks him home. Suddenly, Jinho stops and starts crying loudly, saying, "My friend told me that the day their car is washed, it rains heavily. I don't want to lose my mom again. If necessary, I'll go clean that car every day." Ujin feels like a sharp arrow has pierced his heart at these words. He pulls Jinho close, comforting him, trying to hold back his tears. The next day, Sua comes to Hong's cafe. Hong is stunned and frozen in fear when he sees her. Sua says, "You don't need to be scared. I actually need your help." She asks him for help that will take a long time, and Hong agrees. What exactly this help is will be revealed at the end of the story. Later, when Ujin brings some branches to close the tunnel again, he finds that the water has moved the branches, and the tunnel entrance is open again. Ujin realizes that no matter what, they cannot keep Sua here. After coming home, Jinho runs around looking for his mom because she's not home. He finally finds her, and she's brought a cake for him, as it's his birthday. That night, Ujin and Sua celebrate Jinho's birthday together with laughter and joy. Jinho enjoys the moment, and the three of them take a picture together. Sua, curious, asks Ujin, "What do you think Jinho will look like when he grows up? Maybe just as handsome as you, right?" Ujin stands silently, holding back his tears. There's an unspoken fear in both of their hearts, an unknown fear of losing each other again. The next day, there's a cultural event at Jinho's school. It was supposed to be a day where both of Jinho's parents would attend, but Ujin is held up at work, and Sua arrives late, leaving Jinho feeling very upset. All the kids are singing, but Jinho stands quietly, staring at the ground. When Sua arrives, Jinho doesn't notice her because he's looking down. When the song finishes, the kids start sharing their future dreams. Some say they want to be singers, others say actors, doctors, or lawyers. When it's Jinho's turn, he stands quietly, then looks up and sees Sua, walks forward, and says, "I'm good at running," then suddenly goes quiet. He then says with a trembling voice, "I can fry eggs, I can clean the house, I know how to shake the clothes before hanging them out to dry. I can shampoo my hair, but I can't use my nails while doing it. When frying eggs, I have to handle them carefully or they'll break. Now I can take care of my dad because I promised my mom I'll always take care of him." Hearing these words from such a young child, everyone in the audience has tears in their eyes. They all applaud loudly to appreciate Jinho, and Sua feels immense pride. Her eyes fill with tears of happiness. Meanwhile, Ujin sees that Boss Lee has collapsed in the swimming pool. Ujin manages to rescue him, but due to his increased heart rate, Ujin faints himself. Just then, the sunlight breaks through the clouds, signaling the end of the rainy season. It's now time for Suwa to leave. In the ambulance, Ujin regains consciousness and immediately heads toward the tunnel. Meanwhile, Jinho, seeing the sunlight, runs home crying, only to find that his mom is nowhere to be seen. He looks around and notices the page of the penguin story on the table, where it says that if the train to heaven is missed, it can never be returned. Suwa, slowly walking toward the tunnel, is suddenly grabbed from behind by Jinho, who calls out, "Mom!" Jinho cries, "You're leaving, aren't you?" Suwa, with teary eyes, says, "I have to go. I didn't recognize you the first time I saw you, so please forgive me." Jinho, sobbing, says, "I'm sorry." Suwa is surprised and asks, "Why are you saying sorry to me?" Jinho, crying, responds, "You died for me. Your relatives told Dad that you fell sick after I was born. If I had known this earlier, I would never have bothered you." Suwa, also crying, says, "Who told you this? You never bothered me, and when you came into my life, it became complete." Jinho, still crying, says, "But if I wasn't here, you could have spent more time with Dad." Suwa replies, "Even if I lived for 100 years, I would never be happy without you. I'm truly grateful to have you. I'm going back to heaven, and I'll always watch over you from there. Promise me you'll take care of yourself and always look after your dad." Jinho says, "I will never forget you, Mom." Hearing this, Suwa can't hold back any longer. She pulls Jinho into a tight embrace, holding him close for the last time. Meanwhile, Ujin, on his way to the tunnel, struggles with exhaustion. He faints a few times on the road, but every time he regains consciousness, he keeps running, shouting, "Suwa, wait for me, I'm coming." The night before, Suwa had told him, "I'll always stay by Jinho's side. If you ever feel like I'm a burden, come to heaven. I'll keep a seat beside me for you." Ujin, struggling to move forward, finally arrives at the tunnel and sees Suwa slowly fading away. Though both of them have tears in their eyes, they feel a sense of peace. The pain of losing each other is visible in their eyes. From then on, Ujin and Jinho organize their daily routines carefully. Jinho now fries eggs by himself, and Ujin buttons his shirt correctly. Their home is now always neat and tidy. Before leaving the house each day, they kiss Suwa's picture. Ujin no longer gets exhausted like before. He now teaches swimming to kids at the training center. One day, Ujin finds a note left by Suwa as she left. The note contains details about Suwa's diary. Ujin goes to Suwa's room and begins reading her diary. Until now, we've seen the story from Jinho and Ujin's perspective, but now it will be shown through Suwa's eyes. Suwa writes, "On the first day of high school, I met him. Because the road was narrow, he closed his umbrella. I started liking him for the respect he showed towards girls. What's surprising is that we were in the same school, in the same class. One day, while learning to swim, I almost drowned. I was so embarrassed in front of Ujin that I ran away without thanking him. One day, while sitting in class, I wrote Ujin's name in my diary. Suddenly, Ujin asked me for a pen, and I, scared, refused him. When I got home, I regretted my foolishness. Later, during dance practice, I wanted to be his partner, but I was told to practice with someone else. I deliberately made mistakes in my dance, and because of that, they paired me up with Ujin. But accidentally, Ujin hit me, and I ended up with a bleeding nose. That day, I wasn't angry with Ujin, but I didn't know what to say to him. On the last day of school, I still couldn't tell him how I felt. I had only gone to get his signature, but when I saw him write, 'It was good to be with you,' I was so happy. I mistakenly took his pen with me, and after that, I tried many times to call him but couldn't gather the courage to speak. One day, after gathering all my courage, I finally called Ujin. Just as I was about to call, Ujin called me and asked for his pen back. When I returned the pen, he called me from behind, and I was so happy. Finally, we went on our first date, and gradually, we grew closer. But suddenly, Ujin stopped contacting me. When we met, he told me he no longer wanted to see me. After that, I cried every night. One day, there was heavy rain. A friend from college offered to drop me home, and I got into his car. But then, I suddenly saw Ujin inside the car. I quickly got out and ran to look for him, but he wasn't there. Instead, I saw the 4-leaf clover I had given him on the road. I realized Ujin had truly come to see me. I ran around searching for him, but suddenly, I had an accident. When I opened my eyes, I found myself in front of a middle-aged man and a child. The child was calling me, "Mom." That day, after the accident, I lost all my memories and woke up in the future, 8 years later. Everything felt strange to me at first, but gradually, I fell in love with Ujin and accepted Jinho as my own. Then, I had to leave them. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself in a hospital bed. The doctor said I had regained consciousness after nearly 6 weeks, At first, I thought everything had just been a dream. One day, I secretly went to Ujin's new house and saw the small room. Then I realized that everything I had seen while in a coma would eventually come true. Ujin would get married, have a beautiful child, and after 8 years of marriage, I would die unexpectedly, leaving Ujin and Jinho behind. I never wanted to die at such a young age. Maybe if I had married someone else, my future would have been different. But in that life, I would never have been as happy as I was with Jinho and Ujin. That's why I chose this short life, where there would be no shortage of love. So, I left everything and came to Ujin. After reading the diary, Ujin finds all the answers to his questions. 12 years pass, and today is Jinho's 20th birthday. Uncle Hong brings a cake and a birthday card for Jinho. This was the help Sua had asked Hong for. Sua had told him to bring the cake and the cards on Jinho's 20th birthday. Jinho carefully keeps all the cards Sua left behind, and today, this is the last card she left for him. The card says, "Happy 20th birthday. You've grown up so much, haven't you? I hope you'll find your true love. Signed, your mom from heaven." Hong, looking at Jinho, says, "From today, I am free from your mom's promise." Jinho replies that he will go to the city for his first date and asks Hong for a lift. As he says goodbye to his dad, Jinho says, "I'll be back soon and cook dinner for you." After Jinho leaves, Ujin, as usual, reads Sua's diary again. On the last page of the diary, it says, "It was great to be with you. My life was full of greatness." And so, Ujin waits to join Sua in heaven, counting the days until they can be together forever. With this beautiful moment, today's drama comes to an end. Don't forget to let me know how you liked the drama, and if you enjoy my stories, make sure to like and comment to stay with me. Now I'm leaving, but I'll see you soon with a new drama story. Until then, take care of yourselves.